YouTube! I gotta keep it down, actually. Got my son down for a little nap. He's asleep. Ran home to record this because I've been told this is actually the first good Master Duel banlist, and this is actually worth responding to rather than just, you know, emergency telly to 2 or whatever the hell they were planning on doing as the usual Master Duel banlist. In terms of what this format needs, more consistency hit towards Maliss. Ideally just banning a name outright. I mean, I feel like if you just get rid of like Red Ransom or White Binder or Cryptor, just any one of the links is probably a good way to address the engine. Ryzeal, I think, is fine. Probably dropping down some more consistency is ideally what you're looking for. And other than that, the format is fine. Other than the absolute obvious stuff here, like Apollousa and the Cucaracha. As for what I'm personally hoping for, nothing really particularly special, just hoping that this plague of Maliss is finally dealt with. But let's jump into this one and see if this is actually going to be a good one. Alright, first up, we have the return of... Ooh, shoutouts to Robert, who has given... I said I was going to be quiet. Shoutouts to Robert, who actually has organized these in a way that is React-friendly. We're going with the Unlimiteds first, and this is really good. I expect the next one is just going to be... Yeah, okay. So the furniture is returning for Labrynth, which is really awesome. The furniture cards, I personally, in my opinion, are the most fun and interactive, to an extent, depending on what trap card you're flipping on your opponent's turn, ways to play Labrynth. I've never really enjoyed like the 25 plus trap cards with the Sky Prison in the hand, activate a floodgate, etc, etc. Those are usually not the most enjoyable type of Labrynth builds. I've always loved playing the play on your opponent's turn, activate a furniture, discard rollback, discard backjack, all of these cool fun cards that allow you to actually interact turn 1, which isn't very common for a trap deck, turn 0 rather, I suppose you could call it. So yeah, this is really good. Glad to see some little bit of consistency boost towards Labrynth, and especially that playstyle. 2 more copies is like a 14% increase in consistency, so that's actually quite massive when you really consider it. This is the first format in all of Yu-Gi-Oh! Trading card game, OCG, now Master Duel, where this card is being addressed. I believe. I'm not 100% sure. I'm 99% sure that OCG has not actually hit this card. Droll and Lockbird is basically just a plague in the same way that any other lingering card effect is in Yu-Gi-Oh! From artifacts to Dimension Shifter, Maxi, of course, the big one. Just these uninteractable cards that you either have to immediately deal with or they last the entire turn and they just shut down entire strategies. Now, this is a weird one because... Again, I hate to keep talking about it, but you need to understand just how much of a centrifugal force Maxi presents itself in Master Duel. This card is the centerpiece of the entire game of Yu-Gi-Oh! Master Duel. Everything that you put in your deck list usually is built around trying to deal with this card. And so one way that people were dealing with Maxi was by self-drolling themselves. Droll isn't really that good. It's not actually that strong, at least in the current metagame. It's not that good against Maliss, right? Clearly. So people were having this in their decks just as a way to, you know, either completely shut down any anti-meta rogue decks, or picks like Ryzeal usually is quite strong against them. But the ability to fend off Maxi, as well as having a generically okay card in the format, is extremely powerful. So I guess we can easily just predict from this point onwards that Maxi is going to be staying in the game. Because this card... going to 2, I think the logic isn't that it's a lingering floodgate that's going to auto-win certain matchups or something like that. No, I think that from Konami's perspective, they want hand traps to resolve, specifically Maxi. They want Maxi to resolve. And maybe they just don't like this idea of having Droll and Lockbird work as this pseudo call by the grave for Maxi. So, the cynic in me is saying that this is a buff to Maxi. This is how I see this card. That's big! Oh, wow, that's really big. Dropping to 1... I mean, what else is it? What's X currently at in Master Duel 2, right? Woo! That's kind of sad, honestly. If anything, Ryzeal is a healthy deck, to be honest with you. Once they got rid of Baguska, it's really kind of a reasonable meta deck, really. In terms of all the top tier decks we've had historically in Yu-Gi-Oh!, Ryzeal is definitely one of the fairer ones. Consistency hits, no doubt, but ultimately, unless they go ahead and straight up ban Detonator, I guess this is going to be fine in the long term, honestly. I guess with the arrival of potential Onomat cards, and Are the heraldic support cards in Master Duel? I'm not sure, but there's a lot of like rank 4 consistency to come into Master Duel, or that can be played adjacent to Ryzeal that allows it to still maintain its consistency. So I think for the most part, it is big. Like, these are 3 cards you're losing total. Don't get me wrong, but it's like, unless you actually deal with Detonator and Duo Drive, the deck is still going to have its power plays in its end board. So what did I say? They buffing Maxx C, right? This is what this is. This is all this is. They are buffing Maxx C. So Call by the Grave is a card which should be banned. It should not be in the game. Don't need to go into the details, but let me give you the big TLDR on why Call by the Grave should be banned. I understand that your crappy penis rogue deck needs Call by the Grave, and it needs to beat Ash Blossom outside of its one singular normal summon in line of play to actually stand a chance in the metagame. Yes, I get that, but you need to understand as well that Call by the Grave is a card that everyone can play, not just your shitty Umbral Horror deck, okay? Call by the Grave turns off a hand trap. You are creating a high variance game state in which you are basically playing Go Fish with your opponent into drawing the out against each other in very non-interactive, non-meaningful ways. Yeah, card games in the end ultimately are about activating better cards than your opponent and drawing the out, if played perfectly. There isn't really much skill involved with a Call by the Grave. You activate it if your opponent draws a hand trap against you. You can hold it if you have an extender. Maybe you think, oh, you know, maybe I'll just hold it just in case he has a second hand trap or something. But for the most part, Call by the Grave is a card that turns off hand traps. Going first is a I win button versus hand traps, because now it creates a situation for deck building where if you go second, drawing one hand trap isn't enough. You now have to draw, because number one, drawing one hand trap isn't enough against a good deck, usually a competent deck. Now imagine the good meta deck has a decent hand. You're not going to beat the good meta deck with 3 hand traps at this point if they have Call by the Grave. This hand traps should resolve, they should prevent your opponent from playing, and they should actually allow going second to be fair. The big paradox after everything that I've just ranted about just now is that Call by the Grave is a card which, in my opinion, should be banned for all the reasons above, but Maxx C is in the game. Well, Maxx C creates a bit of a weird situation where you kind of want Call by the Grave to exist to stop Maxx C, but also it's not good in every other situation from a game design perspective. So all of that to say, I hate this, but I love this, but I like this, but I hate this, but I like it, yep. Do they just have one of each name now? That's a lot of consistency they're losing. Honestly, unless they just, you know, just get rid of decoder, link decoder, get rid of a name at this point, I don't really know. I mean, what are you going to do with Apollousa on the field and hand traps and, you know, all of the various millions of disruption this deck has, right? Like, you need to stop an extender. They do this weird thing where they make a deck so inconsistent that it becomes annoying to play, where they finally do hit it by, like, you know, banning Oak, for example, and now it actually is so inconsistent that it can't play through anything. Because Snake Eye, as an example, can actually play through Disruption, and it can't, well, not really play, but that's the whole point. It can't play through Disruption as well now because of the Oak ban. But theoretically, nothing's changed about Snake Eye since, like, 6 months ago. Like, it still has the same end board and powerful plays, but banning Oak is a massive consistency hit, and it reduces your ability to play through Disruption better. Ignore everything I just said about Maliss. Wow! They banned Apollousa. It's finally gone. The most miserable end board. I would rather play against Baron and Savage in the TCG, for example, right? They got rid of the 4 horsemen of the Apocalypse. Apollousa, Masquerena, Baron the Floor, and Savage Dragon. I know I like to throw in Masquerena, but it's the 4 horsemen of the generic end board which any archetype in the entire game can play. This one was probably the most egregious, with Mask being the least egregious. Don't read too much into the Masquerena thing. Apollousa is a ridiculous card. Now, I think that having a toolbox that allows you to beat Nibiru, especially for rogue combo decks, is kind of cool. But ultimately, if you make a board and you end on an Apollousa, it has a very significantly high win rate. And it really does demand drawing the out. You have to see, like, an Imperm, which is also weird because you would have used an Imperm to stop them from getting to Apollousa in the first place, most likely, unless you just want to hold it like a board breaker, potentially. But for the most part, Disrupting multiple of card effects off of one generic extra deck monster is far too good. It really just shouldn't have been greenlit in the first place from a design perspective, and it's finally gone. Wow. I wonder what the Maliss decks are going to look like now. All those TCG players are going to have to start selling their Metafy spreadsheets to the Macedo Maliss players, because let me tell you, Maliss players, some of you have been using this card as an absolute crutch. The good Maliss players will still make and will still play around Nibiru and will still have good end boards. I think that the average Maliss player is going to really struggle now without Apollousa. I mean, I cannot be understated how hard this carries a lot of decks, but particularly Maliss, particularly average to weaker Maliss players. I think the good Maliss players are probably still going to thrive, although there is a good amount of Did we ban anything else? Oh, okay, there's more. Wait, hold up. Ouroboros, nice. Banning Ouroboros, which is, I mean, I don't know if they were doing this in Macedo, right? Because obviously the hand loop combo where you rip 2 cards out of your opponent's hand is very popular in the TCG, or was popular in the TCG when people try to play board breakers for a bit. I'm not actually sure if it's legal in Macedo, but it might be a preemptive hit, which, you know, if they're doing pre-hits to the Eclipse, for example, that's to come soon, then that's good. Oh, I mean, sure, I haven't seen this card in a while. I mean, if you want to play the limited to 1 anti-spell, a card which is totally useless going second, then fine. Yeah, what can I say? Stun just got a huge wave of support with the Morganite stuff, so maybe they don't want you to play Stun too much, or you don't have too much fun with that deck, right? Oh, wow, oh, alright, that's good, that's good, that's good. Wait a minute, hold on, this is a good ban list. Wait, this is a good ban list. It's not perfect by any stretch of the imagination, not even close. But it is one of the stronger Macedo ban lists, which, again, the bar is very alone on the floor, but this is a good ban list. This is a good ban list. I like it. Chessy Cat is like, God, that's so funny. Just dropping all the names down. I kind of would have preferred, like, the field spell to get hit personally over Chessy Cat, but, what's the rule? Ultra rares don't get hit, but yet here we are. Apollousa, DK'd in shambles. He'll never be able to start. He'll never be able to call that out again. I've summarized all my thoughts at this point on this card by card, so it is good to see a lot of these on the list, especially Call by and Droll. But it's also weird because Maxx C is, again, the problematic force in the format. So either they're slowly prepping us to ban Maxx C in a couple of lists, or they philosophically want Maxx C to be in the game, and they want it to exist, and they want it to resolve and be relevant. Which is definitely a clash with pretty much anyone I've ever spoken to with regards to design direction of a card that is now a teenager and is older than probably half the Macedo player base in the first place. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. Again, sorry I wasn't able to do this one live. Don't stream on Fridays because I have parenting duties, and I managed to get a little break now during his nap. Hopefully I haven't woken him up. No, I haven't. A little baby monitor here. Did I see? I'm prepared. A little baby monitor. Anyway, see you guys in the next one. I'll be back Sunday with the Genesis tournament by the time you watch this. So sign up in the discord.gg/Farfa if you want to play if you want to play TCG Genesis format. That's free entry. There is prizing, and you don't need to craft anything because it's on Dueling Book. See you guys in the next one. Bye bye. Take care.